Hello everyone, welcome to the channel of Algocamp. So now on this particular channel, we are actually releasing a series on data structures and algorithms where we are going to talk about some of the most important data structures and algorithmic topics which are extremely important for your upcoming software engineering interviews. Apart from that, these are some of the I would say topics that are very helpful in your day-to-day engineering job as well. We have already released a couple of series around searching, right? And we got a really good response on that. And from here, we are going to put really some awesome content around DSA. In most of these lectures, we will try to ensure that we focus on the intuition building aspect of the things, that how you are able to think about something, what are some of the things that people actually neglect but are going to clear some of the really important fundamentals. We are going to see coding implementation, but trust me, my focus is not going to be on the language delivery aspect of the things, that okay, you have to code this in C++ or Java. A lot of problems we have coded in multiple languages. Maybe some of the problems will be in C++, some will be only in JavaScript. I believe if you are somebody who is preparing for an interview, language in 2025 should not be a constraint, because most of the people can actually use ChatGPT to do language conversions. So my motive here is to make sure that you understand the concept in depth. You actually see how exactly somebody might have thought about the problem when they were carving out the problem, what can be some initial thought process, how you can actually drive yourself towards the solution. I believe these are going to be some really important videos that will be really helpful for your upcoming career. So do let us know what is your feedback. We are going to release a lot of more topics. Do let us know what all topics you want to have first, right? And the feedback is going to be important. Also, in case you are actually thinking to level up, you want to learn things with respect to low-level design, high-level design, overall system design for interviews, or you are somebody who wants to do project development in Spring Boot, you want to learn advanced Spring Boot concepts, or let's say advanced Node.js concepts, then we have a lot of courses, live courses running on algocamp.io. So you can check out the website courses.algocamp.io/learn, and there are a lot of courses that are actually listed. A lot of great discounts are actually going on all the courses as well. Do check them out. For each and every single course, we are going to add you to a dedicated Discord community where you can get your doubts resolved as well. All of the courses, we have made sure that we talk about things from the very beginner to the very advanced level that is going to help you level up in your career as a software engineer. So that being said, let's start the video without any further delay.
So this is a new question coming in front of us. Problem says that you have been given two integer values, a and b. Write a recursive function to implement a raised to the power b. For example, if a is 2, b is 3, a raised to the power b is 2 raised to the power 3, which is 8, right? So, and we have to solve it recursively. How can we actually solve it? Let's first of all try to analyze the problem, okay? So if you have to calculate 2 raised to the power, let's say 5. Now 2 raised to the power 5 can be written as 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. This is 2 raised to the power 5. Very similar to factorial, but it's just that the value is not decreasing every time. It's the same value again and again. Let's say you have to calculate 3 raised to the power 4. It is 3 into 3 into 3 into 3, and so on. So if you carefully see, if what will be the noob task that if I will ask, I can ask someone specific to do this multiplication of 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 all at once, or I can do task delegation. I can say that, hey, I'll calculate 2 raised per 5, but I know how to multiply two numbers. The most easiest operation in multiplication is to multiply two numbers, right? Anything beyond this is complex. So I'll say that I can multiply two numbers. So what if you give me the answer of this part? Anyhow, I can get the answer of this part and I can multiply that answer with 2. So what I'm trying to say is that if somehow you have to calculate 2 raised per 5, if anyhow, any cost, you delegate your task to someone else to calculate 2 raised to the power 4, then you can multiply 2 raised per 4 with 2 and get the value of 2 raised per 5. Same thing here.
So before we start this particular video, I wanted to actually talk about a very small thing. So this video is going to actually help you understand a real system design interview scenario. We are going to try to mimic a 45 to 60 minute kind of like a round where we are going to solve a problem very similar to how you will solve a similar system design problem in this short time frame. Now, of course, when you work as a software engineer in a company, you have relatively larger amount of time and you can do a lot of more deep dives in even very small level features. But in an interview, the temperament is different, the approach is different, and a similar scenario is actually explained in this particular video. So do consume the content based on that. Also, if you want to see more deep dives and want to understand these topics in a much more deeper level concepts, then do check out the link in the description section below for our System Design 2.0 cohort, where we have talked about a lot more concepts in a lot more detail, which will make you definitely a better software engineer. So let's just start the video.
If you want to calculate 3 raised to the power 4, delegate the task to calculate 3 raised to the power 3 onto someone, and then just multiply 3 with it, right? So if you have any value a raised to the power b, a raised to the power b can be written as a into a raised to the power b minus 1. That is, you delegate your task to calculate a raised to the power b minus 1 to someone else. Now this someone else also has to calculate it, right? It's not like it will magically swing the wand and like a raised per b minus 1 will come up. So it will do the same mechanism. It will delegate the task to calculate a raised to the power b minus 2 someone and multiply a with it. Then this someone else will also do the task delegation for calculating a raised to the power b minus 3 and multiply a with it, and so on. What is the base case? We know that if b is 0, then a raised to the power 0 is 1. This can be the base case, right? Because this is the smallest value for which we always know the answer. Doesn't matter what is a. If a is 123, still 123 raised to the power 0 is 1. But what is 123 raised to the power 5? That we have to compute, right? So when the value of b is 0, that's the most easy problem to solve for which we already know the answer. And you can see already there is a relationship. This is a bigger problem. This is a smaller sub problem. There is a relationship between these two. And this relationship persists beyond this as well. So if I write a function f, now this time the arguments of f will be a comma b, because both of the parameters are required. Although in order to uniquely identify the subproblem, you just need b, because a never changes, right? But let's see. So what does this function do? This function calculates a raised to the power b, right? Now if this function calculates a raised to the power b, I don't know how to implement this function. I always surrender. I don't know how to actually solve this question. So what I will say is that if anyhow anyone can give me the value of f of a comma b minus 1, that is, someone calculates a raised to the power b minus 1, you will multiply a with it, because a into a raised to the power b minus 1 is a raised to the power b minus 1 plus 1, that is a raised to the power b. And this is your mathematical recurrence relation. This is the mathematical recurrence relation that you can just directly use in order to implement your solution. And again, as I said, I don't want to go into like how to implement it in a more complex way or directly do the code. I always do this thing. I write the recurrence relation as it is. I will code as it is. I will not change a single thing. As it is, I will code and things will be done. Let me show you. So again, and generally you will see me putting the value of like name of the function always as f in terms of recursion and all. So I'll make a new file. Okay. So public static void main, right? And now what I'll do is I'll say public static int. Now you have to calculate int, right? F. What is the structure of f? F takes two argument a, b, both integers. Right? Although the value of a doesn't change, but you are going to use the value of a. Okay. And now, what do you return? You return a into f of a comma b minus 1. You will see, I'll write it as it is. Return a into f of a comma b minus 1. See, I wrote it as it is. Without any sugar coating, I wrote it as it is. Just before this, I'll put the base case also. If b is 0, return 1. That's it. And that's how your solution works. If you calculate power, 3 raised to the power 4. And let's print it. Oh, sorry, it's not power, it's f. Okay, one second. f of 3 comma 4. Now if you run it, three raised to the power 4 is 81. This is correct. What is 2 raised to the power 6? 64. Right? As simple as that. And you can see very easily we are able to implement this. And let's say if you want to do a bunch of dry run, I can just now directly do the dry run from VS Code. I'll put the breakpoint here, click on debug. Cool. You can see we want to calculate 2 raised power 4. Let's go inside the function. This is the first function call. You are on line number 3. See, you are on line number 3. In line number 3, you check, is 4 equals to 0? No. You go to the new line. And now what do? You calculate the value of 2 into f of 2 comma 4 minus 1. So you can see there is another function call. The moment you see that there is another function called, that means one more entry in the stack frame will come up. So let's go there. And can you see now there are 2 f calls in the stack frame? And you left the last one on line number 4. You can see you left it there. So it shows that you left it there. And now you have a function on line number 3. Is 3 equals to 0? No. You move ahead. You make one more call. You can see another function came inside the call stack. The last one also, which was 2 comma 3, you left on line number 4. Now you are at f of 2 comma 2. You can see this is f of 2 comma 2. Right? Now the value of b is 2. Is 2 equals to 0? No. So what do? You do 2 into f of 2 comma 1. You make a call. You go to the new line. You can see now you are on line number 4. And from here, you leave line number 4 and you go to another function call. So you can see there are a bunch of function calls. Now the value of b is 1. You return nothing. You move ahead. And f of 2 comma 1 we are going to call for. Now b is 0. The moment b is 0, this is a base case. You return 1. The moment you return 1, you can see you are back on this call where you were f of 2 comma 1. You have calculated the value of f of 2 comma 0, that is 1. So 1 into 2 is 2. You return 2. So this one got 2. 2 into 2, 4. This is 4 into 2, 8. That's 2 raised power 3. Right? And then 8 into 2, 16. And then you come back and print 16. Here you go. Right? So approximately similar stuff that we did with factorial, right? Instead of multiplying with n into n minus 1, we are multiplying a with a only. It's just that we are multiplying it b minus 1 times. And that's what the function said. It is going to calculate a raised to the power b. And how does it calculate? By multiplying a to itself b times. By multiplying a to itself b times. There is more efficient way to actually solve this problem that we can discuss later. But I hope this power function, which was very similar to the problem of factorial, is clear to everyone. Now in recursion, what happens is that sometimes, as I said, when I was talking about the task delegation, sometimes what will happen is you will do your work and your work will be absolutely done and you will delegate this task to someone else. Sometimes in order to do your own work, you first of all depend the completion of the delegated task, and whatever is the response of the delegated task, then you complete yourself. For example, here, if you carefully see, we first of all depend on the answer of a comma b minus 1, and then whatever the answer we get, we multiply a with that. But there can be problems in which you will do your self work and you will be done with that and you will just delegate the task. That will be a bunch of problems that we are now going to look at.
So now we have to do the coding implementation for f. So we'll say int f, right? Why int f? Because the power that is going to be computed for us is going to be an integer value, right? We'll say int a, int b. See, f of a comma b, 2 parameters were there, right? F of a comma b. Now if you have to implement f of a comma b, we can say that if b is equals to 0, then I can return 1. That can be our base case, right? This can be our base case. That if b is 0, it doesn't matter what is the value of a. If b is 0, we don't care about a. It is directly going to be equal to 1. Otherwise, what is f of a comma b? F of a comma b is a into f of a comma b minus 1. As simple as that. That's it. That's it. Nothing else is required to be done. We can say compute f of 2 raised per 4. Let's see what 2 raised per 4 comes up. You can see 16 is coming up. Correct answer. Right. If you do 2 raised to the power 1, it gives you the correct answer too. Right. So with a very simple implementation, we are now even able to compute power recursively. So now let's say this is the piece of code in front of you and this is the call stack. Okay. The first function that is called is what? Main function. From the main function, let's say we call for f of 2 comma 3. We want to calculate 2 raised to the power 3. So from the main function, first function will be called as the main function. We are calling for f of 2 comma 3. So first stack frame after main is going to be f. Here the value of a is 2, b is 3. Right. Okay. We'll go to line number 2. Is the value of b equals to 0? No. We go to line number 5 because this whole if check will be skipped. We go to line number 5. In line number 5, we first need to compute f of a comma b minus 1. So now we are going to leave it on line number 5 and call for f of a comma, what is b minus 1? B minus 1 is 3 minus 1, 2. So a is still 2, b also becomes 2, right? And we check, is the value of b equals to 0? No. You again go to line number 5. On line number 5, you again make a call to f of a comma b minus 1. So you make a call to f of a is still the same, b becomes b minus 1. So what is 2 minus 1? 1. You check, is b equals to 0? Is 1 equals to 0? No. Again the if check will be broken. You go to line number 5 again. F of a equals to 2 as it is. See, a is passed as it is. And b is passed as b minus 1. So what is 1 minus 1? 0. B is 0. So here we are going to compare again. Is 0 equals to 0? Yes. 0 is equals to 0. So we are going to return 1 from here. So this stack frame is going to return a value 1. And that's it. This stack frame ends. We are back in the previous stack frame where we were calculating 2 raised to the power 1. We got the value of 2 raised power 0 as 1. Now all you need to multiply is a with it. What is the value of a? 2. What is 2 into 1? What is 2 into 1? 2. So we are going to return 2. We'll return 2. And that's it. And that's it. Same thing here. Now you are again back to calculate 2 raised to the power 2. For calculating 2 raised power 2, you requested for 2 raised to the power 1. And the value is here. 2 raised power 1 is here. We are going to multiply 2 with 2 raised to the power 1. So if you multiply 2 with 2 raised power 1, you are going to return 4. That's it. The moment you hit a return statement, everything is gone. Now you are back on this function call which you left on line number 5. You requested for 2 raised to the power 2. You have got it. Now you are going to multiply this with 2. So what is the multiplication of 4 with 2? This is going to be 8, right? So 2 raised power 4 is going to be 8. And this stack frame also ends. And that's the final answer that we have achieved, right? So 2 raised to the power 3 is going to be 8. This is going to be a simple dry run that you can do. Just draw a call stack, write the function step by step, see on which line you are leaving the function for another function call, and that's it. So I hope this basic dry run is also clear to everyone.